What if the newest images of 3I Atlas revealed something so strange that even veteran astronomers can't agree on what they're seeing? What if, for the first time, a comet-like object is showing structures that point directly toward the sun, as if the laws of space weather don't apply to it at all? Because that's exactly what the latest photographs from November 16th and 17th suggest. And the scientific world is officially out of easy explanations. If you're watching this right now, don't blink, because everything you're about to hear is unfolding in real time. And before we dive deeper, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next wave of updates. This thing is getting weirder by the hour. 3I Atlas have been hidden behind the sun during the last days of October, leaving us with zero visual data for almost 2 weeks. In that silence, nobody knew whether it was peeling apart, collapsing from thermal stress, or quietly transforming in ways we couldn't detect. Then, on November 16th, the Virtual Telescope Project managed to capture the first meaningful post-perihelion glimpse, even though the object sat barely 12 degrees above the horizon. A faint blue ion tail shimmer behind it, the first sign that the comet had indeed survived. 3 days later, on November 9th, another window opened. This time, the geometry between Earth, the Sun, and 3I Atlas shifted just enough of the tail to reveal itself more clearly. What was once subtle now stretched into space. Like a bright slash of light, the object had moved into morning sky, and the tail was no longer hidden behind the nucleus. The more the angle shifted, the more the structure unfolded. Then came November 11th, the day astronomers went from curious to genuinely puzzled. A new image showed the ion tail, reaching roughly 1 million miles in length. But something else was there too. A second feature, a bright, razor-thin structure, pointing toward the sun, an anti-tail, and it wasn't faint or distorted or questionable. It was clean, defined, and unmistakable. What happened next made everything even stranger. On November 15th, an astronomer in Thailand snapped a nearly perfect image, showing both the traditional tail and the anti-tail shining side by side. The anti-tail was bright enough to cut through background noise, like a spotlight shining directly at the sun. And just 24 hours later, on November 16th, the clearest image yet arrived. A photo so detailed, it exposed multiple separate jets erupting from the nucleus. You could see the glowing coma, the sweeping tail pointing away, and these firm sunward beams that absolutely should not exist under normal solar wind conditions. By this point, it wasn't a camera trick. It wasn't atmospheric distortion. It was an illusion caused by angle or perspective. Different telescopes, different countries, same result. The anti-tail was physically there. So the real question is, what kind of material refuses to get pushed away from the sun? Scientists have narrowed it down to 3 possible explanations, and none of them sit comfortably. The first possibility is massive dust grains, not the tiny 1 micrometer particles comets usually release, but grains up to 100 micrometers across. That makes each grain roughly 1 million times more massive than typical comet dust. If the comet were throwing out material that heavy, the solar wind wouldn't be strong enough to deflect it backward. Those grains would lag behind the object's motion, creating a sunward-pointing line. But here's the breaking point. To shine as brightly as these images show, 3I Atlas would need to lose more than 100 times the mass of a normal dust tail. That would be an enormous amount of material ripping off its surface. Yet the size of the nucleus hasn't changed. It didn't shrink after perihelion. That contradiction alone makes the heavy dust idea extremely hard to support. And the next explanation might be even harder to believe. The second idea is ice fragments. When ice chunks detach from a comet and face direct sunlight, they instantly sublimate and reflect light like dust. From Earth's vantage point, evaporating fragments could create a bright structure, pointing sunward, but this model collapses under its own requirements. To make a feature as bright as the 3I Atlas anti-tail, the ice chunks must be large enough to scatter enormous light, yet somehow small enough to evaporate. before the solar wind shoves them away. That window is microscopic. If the chunks last even slightly too long, radiation pressure should force them into a normal tail. That leads to explanation 3, the one most people instantly believe, but the one the narrator doubts the most. This final idea claims the jets aren't natural at all. Instead of being produced by outgassing, they're more like narrow, controlled thrust streams, similar to exhaust plumes from dead rockets or spacecraft stages, left drifting through the solar system. Human-made objects can develop long, reflective trails from leaking fuel or spinning debris, and those streams don't respond to solar wind the same way comet dust does. If 3I Atlas were pushing material out through a directed mechanism, those beams would slice straight through the solar wind. With almost zero deflection, they'd point in whatever direction the output is aimed, even toward the sun. That would explain the tightness, the brightness, and the impossible resistance to radiation pressure. But here's the part nobody expected. The comet survived perihelion almost perfectly. No breakup, no fragmentation, no debris cloud. A truly fragile comet should have cracked or exploded near the sun. Instead, this one came out looking stable and strangely energetic. Even now, as it moves farther away from the sun, the jets remain active. That alone breaks another rule. Natural comets always calm down as their solar heating drops. If this one stays active, even briefly, then its power source may not be sunlight at all. So the mystery deepens, and you're watching it unfold in real time. Before we wrap up, make sure you're subscribed, because the next few days of observations might be the most important ones yet. Hit the like button so this update reaches more people, and let's crack this mystery together. Which explanation makes the most sense to you? Heavy dust, evaporating ice, or something engineered? Drop your theory in the comments, because the next image might change everything. Nebula signal.